Here's another Stormhawk's headcanon, talking about relationships. If you want to see the other one I did, actually, previous to this one, was Junko and Dove, talking about that ship that I had for Stormhawks. It's kind of weird that Stormhawks has some oddball shippings. Even that surprises me, too. So, yeah, here you go, guys. This is going to be me talking about my other ship that I think a lot of people have been curious about, which is Cyclonis and Perry, of course, Princess Peregrine from the from Terra Clockstopia. I think some people were like, really? That, alright, okay. Probably because of how I explained it. Because, yeah, there was a method to this one. It's much like, it's very much like a kind of like, it's weird too, and I know I'm stumbling over my words here, but it's an odd thing to say, but basically it's very much based off of another story. Well, myth, mind you. It's more based off of a myth. And that myth is the story of Hades and Persephone, the Greek myth of Hades and Persephone. And there's actually two ways of how I made this relationship go in my Stormhawk stories. So let's get started with the first one. Now, the first one is actually based off of, it's actually like a retelling of the legend of Hades and Persephone. In this version of this story is that Perry, who already had a taste of adventure with the Stormhawks, sets out to find her way into finding the Stormhawks and offering Clockstopia's aid against the war with Cyclonia. And she even she finds one of the Nightcrawler's old skimmers, and after she figures out how to drive it, at least use it not as the hang glider way, but as she kind of learns how to like retrofit it a bit after tinkering with it, and turns it into a makeshift skimmer. So, more or less what happens is that she goes out into the world without her kingdom knowing, because, yeah, she doesn't really think... Perry clearly didn't think of steps A through B. You know, she thought of step A, not so much. Sorry, door suddenly flung open. Yeah, but like I said, it was clear that she thought of step A, but not through much steps B to all the way to the following. So, essentially what happens is that a storm breaks out and knocks her off course right into Cyclonia. And who should find her but Cyclonis herself, who at the time was prepping to go on a solo mission into the, to try to find the door. This is close to where they were looking for the door, to the far side of the Atmos. And what happens, basically, she's like, what the hell is Piper doing here? Until she realizes, oh, this isn't Piper, this is the princess of that Terra I tried to conquer. Methinks of a really good plan here. And initially, she more or less she locks her up and is like, hey, I got a princess now. I can, hold her ransom for that Terra full of giant mounds of crystals. Unfortunately, her her threats go to Clockstopia, and the Regent's like, wait a minute, Princess is gone, no, she has no heirs or what have you, that means I can be in charge, yay me! So, essentially what happens, much like in the story of Hades and Persephone, until the Stormhawks can find out what's going on and have to rescue Perry, for 3 months she's in Cyclonia as a honored guest, because Cyclonis is like, well, you're a princess, and I get, by rules of loyalty, I shouldn't really lock you up, but don't try to leave my palace, or shit's gonna go down. Like, seriously, don't fucking try it. So that was the idea, is that much like in the story of Hades keeping Persephone in the underworld for 3 months because of the deal he made with Zeus, yeah, that was kind of like for 3 months, the winter, Perry stays with Cyclonis, and the two kind of eventually form a relationship. Very Beauty and the Beast, which in an odd way, is it just me, or in some retellings of the legend of Hades and Persephone, it kind of feels like Beauty and the Beast, so it's not too far off the beaten path. Maybe that's just me. So yeah, that was kind of the idea, really, for the first one. The second idea, is a little more straightforward in a way. More or less, what happens is that Perry is trying to find a consort. She's trying to find someone of royal blood, so she can keep her crown. Basically, what has happened is that the regent has discovered that if Perry can't take a spouse, she'll lose. She's in danger of losing her crown because you kind of need a spouse to produce heirs. So she's forced to open up her doors to Clockstopia and try to reach out to several royal members. And it does not go unnoticed. Even Repton gets a call. He's like his brothers come in and he's like, "Hey boss, there's this Terra full of crystals and they're looking for a king. Their princess is looking for a king. You're a king?" He's like, "Yeah, but I'm already boning Starling, so fat chance of that happening. Besides, she's too young for me. I got a purple-haired woman with emotional baggage. I'm good. I'm good, fam." But it turns out who does end up taking her calls to try to court her is Cyclonis herself, who at first shows up with her battleship and her entourage, aka her henchmen, and everyone's like, what do we do? Because even Cyclonis says, I could literally take this, if I really wanted to, I could take this Terra in less than a day, and you couldn't stop me, and you couldn't stop us. But she's like, look, I'm not here to conquer you, I'm here to court you, personally. I'm not trying to, it's going to be me who's going to court you. So that's the idea, is that Cyclonis is trying to court, the princess personally. And the regent's like, wait a minute, you can't, there's no law that says you can marry another woman. And Perry goes, there's not really a rule that says I can't do it either, so technically this is workable. So that's how Cyclonis, of course, is trying to get, a chance to get into the crystal mounds, not to mention Perry's pants. Hi-oh! But basically that was the idea, is that Cyclonis is trying to, court her, and she's fighting an uphill battle because, yeah, the Nightcrawler debacle. So yeah, it's basically that. I even had a funny scene where they're playing with Perry's dolls, and Cyclonis is just like, God help me, I'm enjoying myself. So that was the idea. Also, I had it that there was this idea I had where the regent tries to assassinate Cyclonis, and Cyclonis survives, comes back, and the regent's like, "Oh, Master Cyclonis, it's a miracle." And to which Cyclonis replies with, "Oh, it'll be a miracle, my dear regent, if you survive what I got planned for you." So there's that. But yeah, that was that was more or less the idea on a whole, was that, Cyclonis is basically fighting this uphill battle to win Perry's affection, because she has this idea of, well, conquering, I could easily conquer them. What if but that's just going to draw the attention of the other, the Sky Knights, and then I'm going to have to fight a war to keep this Terra. So if I did it legally, they couldn't do shit to me. So that's her plan, is that if I legally marry Perry, then they can't touch me. There's also the thing of where the regent brings up, well, you guys can't produce an heir. You can't adopt, so what's the point? So Cyclonis is like, I got it. So she more or less makes a crystal to use to create, she pours all of her energy and a bit of her DNA in there to more or less, crystal her way into having a child. So that was her idea, is that she's more or less playing God in a situation. Anyway, I'll talk more, or maybe I'll do a video talking further into that whole spiel. So there you go, guys. That's pretty much my Stormhawk's headcanon for Perry and Cyclonis. I think I've talked about 3 of the 4 major pairings, so maybe sometime in the future I'll talk about my other pairing, Finn and Susie Lou. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this? Do you guys like it? Hate it? Just comment below, let me know. Once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and Carlotta, I know you're watching this. Can't wait to see what you have to say about it. Anyway, I'm out.